Good morning to all. It's March the 5th, 2026, and this is my second attempt at posting something on my YouTube channel. It's going to be a slide deck that I make a few comments on for each slide. Uh, I plan on putting about 10 slides in this part one of my series of Ted Ground's InnoCentive Challenge Solutions from 2014 to 2023. So 2023 was, I guess, the last time that I submitted an InnoCentive challenge solutions. It just sort of, that's the way it happened. But if you'll go back to the first YouTube video that I posted, that was about the Mars balance mass challenge that NASA sponsored. And that sort of introduces you to how I got started with this, how I was introduced to, or I introduced myself to InnoCentive, and this a little bit of the background story there about, I've always been interested in science since I was very young. So this part one of the InnoCentive Challenge Solutions, I'll say a few words for each deck maybe, or I'll skip a few, but there should be a total of about 9 parts, and each one will have about 10 slides on it. Each part will have about 10 slides because I've written 102 of these InnoCentive challenges solutions. There's only about 7 of them that I can't talk about because I conveyed my intellectual property over to the sponsor or the seeker who actually pays the money for the winning solutions. So there'll be about 100 of these, or 95 of these or so, and I'll try not to talk as much. You can just pause the video and read the entire index card, if you want to call them that, to learn a little bit more about it. This first one is about getting trace minerals or trace elements out of things like rock powders from rock quarries and mined minerals, and uh, and to use those through biotechnology, that is microbial extraction of certain elements uh, out of those natural materials. And I go through and I list a number of microorganisms that are good candidates for selectively extracting, let's say, zinc or cobalt or manganese and so forth out of rock powders and other materials such as that. So this first card here doesn't tell you the whole story. The average number of pages on my proposals that I wrote to InnoCentive is about 24 or 25 pages, and I have written well over 2,500 pages over the years. That includes things like references and annotations, or annotated references and bibliographies, and then a lot of them contain graphics that I generated myself, or I used certain images as examples. So I hope you enjoy this, and I'll go to the next slide. Well, this InnoCentive challenge was about looking for new materials that have specific optical and physical properties. So I came up with a proposal using different technologies and additives, especially things like niobium to amorphous silica glass or glass ceramic powders, um, because they were looking for materials with high refractive index. As you may know, diamonds have a high refractive index. They often say for a diamond, it's got a lot of fire. It's very, very reflective and refractive. So anyway, this is my proposal, and one of the ways that this can be accomplished is through a process called sintering and through the use of pulsed current electrical sintering. Now this InnoCentive challenge solution goes back to October 18th of 2014, and the sponsor was looking for new uses for amorphous silica particles that are very small. They're like 5 microns in diameter on average. So I came up with this proposal to deposit graphene onto these particles and use them for electrical battery anode materials and other electrical component applications. Graphene is one of my favorite materials to think about applications for, and this proposal goes through it. By the way, if there's any of these ideas, or if there are any of these ideas that you may be interested in, you can try to contact me, I guess through the YouTube channel or through my Facebook or my X platform channel. This challenge goes back to October 28th of 2014, and the sponsor was looking for a high gas mass transfer process for biologically based or bio-based reactors. So I came up with this description of a mass transfer of oxygen and methane for a biological gas fermentation process in a bioreactor using these towers or these subsurface U-tubes to increase pressure and control the flow rate to make the reaction that you see at the bottom of this card happen, in which methane and oxygen are injected and operated on by certain microorganisms to produce a fuel, a liquid fuel called butanol, which is a pretty cool substance. You can look more into it and just pause the slide deck to read the whole thing. This challenge goes back to November 5th, 2014. It's about looking for new applications for shape memory polymers. And I came up with the idea of taking advantage of that property to compress liquid containers and packing them in a tighter transportation configuration. And then when it comes to the destination, when they are delivered, you simply apply some heat in an enclosed environment, and the novel shape memory polymer then expands to its original shape. So you can imagine these large water storage tanks, let's say, made out of this particular type of polyurethane, a thermoplastic polyurethane, that when it arrives at its destination, you can put it inside of something the size of a shipping container and apply just simple air heat, convection heat, and it will expand within 30 seconds to 2 minutes to its original size. And this allows for more compact shipping arrangements and transportation costs. This particular InnoCentive challenge goes back to November the 8th, 2014. I was writing quite a few of these fairly rapidly back in that day. But this one was sponsored by the British Royal Navy, and they were looking for ways to have measured responses, or graduated response matrix, they called it, for attempts at unlawful activity or piracy at sea, usually off the Horn of Africa. And so I came up with an idea for equipping swarming UAV helicopters from the decks of both military and merchant ships to deter the attempts at piracy that were happening quite frequently back then, and they may still be happening. But they've figured out better ways to respond to this. But the center of this is these vapor swarms where um, rotocopter unmanned aerial vehicles can be carried by both naval and merchant vessels. You can pause the slide deck to read more about it. This challenge goes back to December 7th, 2014, and it's about looking for reducing galactic cosmic rays radiation in deep space space exploration. Um, so I came up with the idea of using basalt fiber and polyimide composites, boron and polyethylene composites on the exterior of the spacecraft, and combine that with interior sleeping berths located between tanks of water or magnesium hydride to reduce what's called GCR, or galactic cosmic radiation doses, during human exploration in deep space. So you can pause the slide deck and read more about it. This InnoCentive challenge goes back to November 23rd of 2014, and it's really about pet food um, and the and trying to counteract or deconstruct negative advertising connotations by communicating positive denotations and associations. Uh, Natural predators in nature that are related to our pets, our dogs, they go straight for the vital organs. That is their main menu. And we need to, in this proposal, I suggest that we need to uh, change that idea that things like vital organ meats, such as liver, are byproducts. So we want to go in and counteract what is essentially propaganda and focus on seeking the truth. This InnoCentive challenge goes back to January 25th of 2015, and it calls for repurposing uh, opportunities for treating eczema conditions or symptoms. So I came up with repurposing FDA-approved cromolyn and DMSO, or dimethyl sulfoxide, in a formulation with quercetin, a naturally occurring flavonone, and Astragalus membranaceus extract in cutaneous applications for multifaceted treatment for relief of some conditions related to eczema, or otherwise known as atopic dermatitis. So eczema is so multifaceted that there may not actually be a single cause for it, or there may be multiple causes for it. At least the symptoms that emerge, very itchy rashes, inflammation, sometimes painful swelling, and so forth. So this is one way to approach that, to at least address the conditions associated with eczema. And you can take a look at the slide to learn more about it. This InnoCentive challenge goes back to January the 1st of 2015, and it's called Atomization of Molten Steel on Industrial Scale. And what I came up with was an improved means of industrial scale steel shot production, combining viscosity reducing and slag controlling flux, a plurality of channel corrugations and a wide radial flow distributor, and electromagnetic confinement and motion control of molten steel, as standing wave droplets of uniform size, which fall free into a quenching water tank. I described the three steps in some detail here. So you may look at the slide to learn more. This is the last of 10 slides in this part 1 of Ted Ground's InnoCentive Challenge Solutions, covering a period of 2014 to 2023. I hope that you appreciated at least some of the ideas. If you have any comments or questions or requests, you can contact me through the YouTube channel or through Facebook or my X platform. Thanks for your interest.